Hey there, YouTube and Whooper Club fans. It's Fruit Taco, coach of the Route 1 Birbs, here again to bring you a feature match from WCL Season 13. This week we've got the Akron Aggrons up against myself and my very own Birbs. Took me a little bit to get this out to you. I was feeling a bit under the weather. Apologize if I still sound as such, but didn't want to wait too long. Gotta get you this match. It is a real fun time. I recently learned that I actually have a historically terrible record against the Agrons, so let's see if that lopsided record continues to play itself out, or if I can get one of those coveted wins against the Agrons. Let's hop into everything and find out. Okay, so looking at the teams, we've got the Agrons with Meowscarada, who cannot Terra, Gengar, who cannot Terra, that Paldean Tauros Blaze Breed, Basculin, Galarian Articuno, Tinkaton, Overquill, who can't Terra, Pelipper, who can't Terra, Hisuian Decidueye, Palisand, and Pincurchin. Going up against me, my own roster has Electrode, Hawlucha, who cannot Terra, Walking Wake, who cannot Terra, Mew, who cannot Terra, Typhlosion, Meloetta, Earthworm, Alolan Muck, Arboliva, Mudsdale, and Torkoal. Something to get out of the way with this matchup is I've got a little bit of a disadvantage going into this because that Torkoal I just mentioned I obtained traded from the Agrons, but as part of that trade I did swear a solemn oath not to bring Drought to this matchup. So Torkoal could come, Sun could come, but it's not going to be that automatic Drought setting it up. It would have to be manually set up via Sunny Day. So, with that out of the way, let's look at the speed tiers of these two teams. I'd say that I definitely have the advantage there, at least on paper. Electrode is the fastest thing in the matchup by far. Hawlucha then is only outsped by one thing. Walking Wake is then only outsped by two things, and the Agron's third fastest Pokemon, that base 100 Tauros, I have two base 100s of my own. So on paper at least, I definitely have the edge on speed there, but they do have Pelipper with two Swift Swim users in Overquill and Basculin, which could, combined with their their lots of priority on their team, could mean that they actually end up having the advantage in speed in the match, even if they don't have it on paper. Well, what looks good for each team? For the Agrons, I do have that ×4 water resist in Walking Wake, but water's actually not terrible into my team, which could open up stuff like Basculin or Pelipper. Something like a Specs Pelipper with Hurricane to hit Arboliva or Walking Wake, which are my only two water resists, could do actually pretty well. I've got a fair number of ground weaknesses as well, so maybe Palisand could be pretty good here too, but it is also threatened by several of my mons, so I'm not really sure if it would do that well or not. As far as their other options go, Meowscarada and Gengar look great as well. Meowscarada has Play Rough and Gengar has Dazzling Gleam to hit Walking Wake, who is by far the scariest thing on my side. That Tauros as well, I don't have a great fighting matchup, so even, without the Sun that I would be setting up to boost its Fire-type moves, fighting's really all it needs in this matchup. And of course, that Galarian Articuno has been doing great for them this season, so all in all, I think they have a pretty decent matchup here. Lots of threats, several answers to my own stuff. I think it's really just going to come down to the sets they bring and how they play what shows up to the match, because they've got a pretty versatile team here in this matchup. As far as myself, though, let's see. Without that Drought, honestly, Walking Wake still looks great. There's only one Dragon Resist in that Tinkaton who doesn't necessarily want to take water moves, and once that's gone, Draco Meteors are free. Only two flying resists on that team mean that Hawlucha could be pretty good, and man, Muck, as always, just looks like it could put in so much work. It has such good defensive utility here, with some nice offensive options as well. Of course, Poison hitting the grass types, Dark moves hitting Ghost and Psychic types with different coverage. Great defensive matchup into Overquill, although they kind of wall each other. Resist both of Gengar's stabs. Lots of good options for it here, but with so much utility in that one Pokemon, going to have to manage its health pretty carefully. And, well, all in all, again, I think that I have a pretty versatile matchup here as well. both of these teams really have plenty of offensive and different defensive options that they could pull out in this match. I think it's just going to come down to what shows up and how well everything is played to see who comes out with the win here. So, well, with that out of the way, let's look at what each team is actually bringing to the match and see if, well, maybe one of the teams has a bit more of an edge with what is actually coming. Starting off, looking at the Agrons, they are starting off with that Palisand. We've got a special wall with lefties and that defensive Terra Fairy to give a Draco resist. Earth Power is good stab, with Chilling Water as an interesting coverage option. Then we've got Rocks and Shore Up for utility. Chilling Water is kind of the biggest question I have here. I like the special set with the Terra Fairy. It's no longer weak to Walking Wake's water moves, and it's immune to the Draco Meteors, which could be great for this team. But that Chilling Water, I just have questions about. It's not bad. It can certainly hit something like Orthworm or Muck switching in and drop their attack and maybe help with those matchups, but I don't see anything in particular that's for. Maybe, I don't know, just something else probably could have done at least as well in that spot, but not at all a bad set here. Moving on, we have Basculin, max attack, jolly, banded with adaptability. It's got the speed to outspeed max speed Meloetta, and then, geez, adaptability, Terra Water boosted, Aqua Jet, and Wave Crash with that choice band. It's going to be doing so much damage. He's not bringing the rain to buff it even further, but with all those modifiers, doesn't he even need to? Ice Fang is nice and neutral on the Walking Wake, as well as hitting Arboleva super effectively, so that's nice coverage there. And then we've just got Psychic Fangs to round the set out in case I bring screens, a solid set all around here, and really nothing I can fault him on. This could be doing a lot of damage for just being a tier 5 Mon. Moving on, we have Articuno, who's been a bit of a standout for the Agrons. We've got max HP and max speed with lefties. That speed is going to let it speed tie a modest Walking Wake. We've then got Calm Mind, Agility, and Stored Power. This is a hard setup Mon, then we've got Terra Ground, Terra Blast to cover that Muck who would be otherwise immune to the Stored Power. This is a really cool set. It's just going to be, does he have the room to actually get it set up? This is probably his intended Terra user this match, unless he can get rid of that Muck pretty early. But then he's going to want at least an Agility and a Calm Mind up, maybe 2 Calm Minds to really get that Stored Power going crazy. But I'm not sure if he'll have the time to find all of those boosts or not. We'll see how he's able to do in the match with it, if he's able to get those boosts or not. Moving on to someone who does not need to set up, it's Gengar. With Choice Specs, Timid, Max Special Attack, Max Speed. Got the stabs of Shadow Ball and Sludge Bomb hitting everything except Muck, at least neutrally. And then he's got the Focus Blast to hit it neutrally, and Trick. This is, I think, actually really good tech here. Being able to trick the Choice Specs onto a Muck switching into an attack, that would be pretty devastating for me, honestly. So, I think this is a really great set overall. I'm not sure about leaving the Dazzling Gleam at home. Sure, it wouldn't hit Muck as hard, but it would give you that guaranteed OHKO on Walking Wake, which you do outspeed with the max speed here. So, I think all of the move choices here are great, but maybe that Dazzling Gleam would be useful. We'll see if leaving that behind bites him in this match or not. Then we've got the third choice Mon. We've got Band. We've got Specs. Now it's time for Choice Scarf Meowscarada. Got max attack near max speed, which will let this outspeed Hawlucha without its Scarf, or I guess a Scarfed Hawlucha. Play Rough hits Walking Wake with that Protean boost. U-Turn and Knockoff are great and spammable. And then we've got Sucker Punch just in case. It's risky putting a move as conditional as Sucker Punch on a Choice Scarf set, but if I happen to bring something faster like Scarf Electrode, that would be very nice. And with the looking at the speed, this might be an intended switch into something like a knockoff from Muck, in which case you lose that Scarf, and then you can pull out Sucker Punch to hit any Scarfers or something on my side if you need it. So An interesting set. Surprised that he's leaving Flower Trick off of this set. I thought for sure he would have that to break through the defense boosts of Mudstale. But really, Grass is just about good into only Mudstale on my team. So the more I look at it, the more I understand leaving it at home, especially if, Mudstale could Terra to resist it or something, expecting it. I can definitely see how these other 4 moves might just get more consistent use. And last, we have that Hisuian Decidueye that I actually traded away to the Aggrons as part of that preseason trade to get that Torkoal. Interesting that I sent it away immediately, and now it's coming back for revenge, I guess. We'll see how it's able to do. It's got a pretty cool set here with max HP, a lot of special defense, and a bit of defense investment as well. Very bulky. It's got Roost and Bulk Up, trying to make use of that bulk to get some boosts off. Then we've got triple arrows as nice reliable stab, and knock off to hit the fighting resists on my team. This is pretty interesting. The Terra Ghost, I'm not entirely sure what he's going for there. I guess it would resist any poison-type moves being thrown into it, but the poison-type moves coming from Muck, it could then just hit it with a Dark-type move. But I don't know, if that can get an extra bulk up or something off because of that Terra, that could be pretty scary. It's just gonna have to see if it can actually get those off. It's not the fastest Pokemon, so we'll see if the investment is able to give it room to actually do some damage to my team. All in all, for this Aggrons team, a lot of mons that I expected to come, but they're not being brought how I expected them, at least. Sure, I predicted stuff like Scarf, Meowscarada, and Specs Gengar, but they don't have all the options I expected them to have, so we'll see if some of that is able to catch me off guard, or if Joey should have gone with some of the more standard stuff that I was expecting. And here we have what I am bringing to the max, starting off with Alolan Muck, who I said looked so good in this matchup, or at least so useful. Just got a standard bulky offense set here, max HP, max attack, adamant with the leftovers. Terra Poison is there, I guess, as kind of, it can resist a fairy move if it needs to, could resist a fighting move if it needs to. Probably not an intended Terra here, but just a contingency for a couple specific things. Also would let me get boosted damage on that Poison Jab to hit like a bulky Grass type or a Terra Fairy Pokemon on the other side. Not bad, just got a couple uses there, even if I don't necessarily plan on using it. Talking about the actual moveset, though, we've got Knock Off and Poison Jab for stab options with Fire Punch to cover Tinkaton. Then last move, Substitute. I pointed out that this has a lot of good defensive and offensive matchups. If I can force a switch and then sub up so I can make sure to hit whatever comes in with the appropriate move, this could be very strong and very dangerous. So looking forward to seeing this Muck put in some work. Moving on to Meloetta. This is a bit of a special wall, not a lot of bulk, still max special attack timid with a lot of speed, but it is holding an Assault Vest. That combined with some great natural special bulk, this thing can take some pretty heavy special hits just fine. We've got Terra Normal on it to lose the weaknesses that the Psychic type brings, as well as boosting Hyper Voice, which is pretty spammable into the Aggrons team. Psychic, Thunderbolt, and Energy Ball give me then at worst neutral coverage for everything and super effective on a lot of stuff. The Serene Grace boosting the chances of the special defense drops on Energy Ball and Psychic, as well as the paralysis chance on Thunderbolt, also nice to have. This definitely going to need to play this somewhat conservatively. I know there are a lot of scary special attackers on the other side. Looking at that Gengar for sure, that I would like to keep this decently healthy to always be able to live a hit and threaten it back. We then move on to Mew, newcomer to the team that, if I'm honest, this is probably the set I'm least confident in. I had the other 5 Pokemon pretty figured out, couldn't decide what to do in that last slot, and, well, Mew is endlessly versatile, so I just decided, well, I'll use this, and it could probably be good in a lot of different situations. In hindsight, probably wishing I had grabbed the Hawlucha instead, but this is still a great Pokemon overall. We've got max special attack, max speed, timid with the Colbur Berry to try to eat a knockoff from Meow. Of course, it could still U-turn me on me, but maybe I can catch that and then hit it back with a super effective attack. Earth Power, Shadow Ball, and Bug Buzz hit 9 out of 11 Pokemon on the Aggron side super effectively, and then Calm Mind being able to boost that damage, that'd be really, really scary if I can find a way to get this set up. It will, however, need to watch out for faster Mons, but as long as I can keep that Meowscarada and Gengar in check, and make sure that I don't just get revenge killed outright, this should be able to do a fair amount of damage if I use it right, but a lot of things could also go wrong with this, so we'll see if I'm able to get the value out of it that I'm hoping. Going on to Walking Wake, though, who I expect to be pretty dang consistent, we've got max special attack and speed with a modest nature, meaning it speed ties Articuno and will outspeed Adamant Basculin. Boost Energy is going to further boost special attack once it is set out with then agility. With an agility up, I outspeed everything except a Jolly Swift Swim Basculin in the rain, which is pretty incredible. Surf, Draco Meteor, and Hurricane do insane damage and take advantage of any rain that happens to come, so this should be pretty strong. I'm a little worried that I tend to make these sets, especially with an item like Booster Energy, and then play them too conservatively. I, try to save them for the exact moments I envisioned, rather than finding when they would actually be the most useful. Draco Meteor, very spammable, and, some I might just want to find in the middle of the match, just throw it out, just start getting free Draco Meteors if the Tinkaton is gone. So, we'll see how well I use it. Moving on to Electrode. Very funny set here. We've got max special attack modest with a lot of speed to outspeed the whole Aggrons team, plus a little bit of creep in case there's something like a Scarf Decidueye or something just creeping us out there at the top. Terra Flying with Terra Blast will hit Meowscarada, Decidueye, and Tauros while dodging a ground move or resisting a grass move. Pretty dang useful there. Thunderbolt for stab, Volt Switch for pivoting, and Damp Rock Rain Dance. Yeah, I didn't know if he was going to bring rain. I thought of the funny Walking Wake rain set with the boosted surfs and guaranteed hit hurricanes, and Electro doesn't have the widest move pool, so I just decided, screw it, I'll bring my own rain too. Wasn't really sure what I would put in that slot. Just go for that. Mudsdale is then up to round out the team as a defensive wall, max defense near max HP with just a little bit of speed to creep Palisand. Terra Poison gives it a good defensive typing, letting it eat Flower Tricks all day as well as resisting a fighting move or fairy move. Earthquake, Body Press, and Stone Edge hit everything for good damage, and then we've got Stealth Rock for utility. I think this is a pretty good set, but again, I built this kind of countering the Meowscarada in mind. That Terra Poison actually gives it a very good matchup into it, but, am I going to save it? Am I going to be too conservative with it, just always keeping it, trying to check that Meowscarada? I don't know. We'll have to see how rigidly I play or how adaptable I can be in the middle of the match. And that's the team. I like the team a fair amount. The only question is, did I get a little bit too inventive in the kitchen, and is that going to dissuade me from making some more opportune plays in the middle of the match compared to the stuff that I had originally planned out? Well, we'll see. And there's only one way to do that, and that's to get into the match. And here is that match. We've got the teams seeing what each other brought for the Aggrons. Man, Gengar looks really good once that Muck gets chipped down. Poison type and Ghost type moves just really spammable here. Meowscarada's Play Rough, also unresisted, and Knock Off and U-Turn looking very safe here as well. Probably expect them to lead that Meowscarada for that nice fast U-Turn. For myself, though, wow, there is no Tinkaton here, which means Walking Wake just gets free Draco Meteors? I'll take that any day of the week. Muck has a ton of use checking Meowscarada, Gengar, and Palisand, as well as Articuno, but will need to be carefully managed because of that. Can't throw it in front of everything, or else it'll just get chipped down before I realize it. Well, Speaking of that muck, it matches up pretty well into everything, so probably can just lead it. Now we've got Palisand going up against that muck. Nice. I'm feeling pretty good. I just substitute as Joey goes for the shore up, which is very interesting. I see him send it out. Maybe he's getting up rocks or something. I just throw up the substitute to try and scout what he's trying to do, and then there's the shore up, which makes me kind of confuses me. I see that he's probably expecting like a knockoff or something and then wants to heal up after that. He won't have the item afterwards and I'll be doing less damage then. But honestly, even without a item on, knockoff is doing 50 to 59% even if he doesn't have an item, and I'm still getting the chance at poison touch poisons on that knockoff. So this Palisand was never stalling me out. Probably should have just gone for the rocks or the earth power off the bat. However, I am going to see that and start playing this a little bit more carefully, trying to see what he's got planned. I'm just going to go for the poison jab because I'm worried about something like activating a weakness policy and then he terras and is able to make live and make use of that. So I just go for the poison jab. Destiny Bond, also a possible thing that he could go for. I go for the poison jab for just some chip damage. Also covers one of the dark resists coming into the match. And so, you know, I'm pretty happy with that. I get the poison on the poison jab, which is nice. We'll start chipping down that Palisand while I'm feeling pretty good in this matchup. And Earth Power, of course, will just come out and break my sub. Knock off is going to be doing 73 to 87%, so I'm going to put in another sub just to get some additional poison chip, and Stealth Rocks come up. That's pretty interesting. I could be doing a fair amount of switching around between defensive answers like that Meloetta, Mudstale, and Muck, so rocks aren't bad, but also I don't have anything weak to them. I'm not sure how good they are, and well, I just talked about, you know, being able to knock this thing out, looking good into everything else, and if I'm able to knock this out coming up and getting a free sub, whatever he sends out is going to be real and unhappy in front of a muck behind a sub, so maybe just going for the Earth Power to keep pressuring me would have been the better move, but we'll see how it plays out. Poison Chip, putting it in potential range of knockoff. I go for it. I don't get the knockoff, though. Roughly a 43% chance at that KO by my estimation. But I miss that roll, so leftovers go, but Earth Power and my sub goes as well. However, that Poison Chip will end up taking down the Palisand, and now Articuno comes out. Pretty interesting choice here for the Aggrons. Obviously, it doesn't want to take a knockoff, so probably gonna force the Terra here, getting that committed pretty early. Basculin would be able to have come out instead and just threatened a KO with a Banded Wave Crash, but that could just let in the Walking Wake for practically free. Maybe he's worried about that, doesn't want to then have to risk going for the double switch after sending out the Basculin. I can certainly see some merit to both choices here. But we've got the Articuno here, and, you know, I see it, and I'm thinking, okay, well, he's definitely going to Terra here, right? He does, goes for the Calm Mind. I know this thing likes to set up, so I just want to go for the knockoff, get some good damage, don't give it a free turn to set up. I like seeing those leftovers gone, and so feeling pretty good about that turn, but now we have +1 special attack, Terra Ground here, looking to do some pretty good damage into Muck. So definitely worried about that, thinking, well, what am I going to go into here? Don't have any ground resists, unfortunately, so looks like we'll just have to go into that Meloetta, my special wall here, with that Assault Vest, going to pretty easily take that +1 Terra Blast. I'm scared of it, though, don't want to let it set up anymore, so I go straight for the Energy Ball. Unfortunately, the Meowscarada comes in and eats that up pretty dang easily, and, well, this is just a really free U-turn for the Aggrons. It's going to do a huge amount to Meloetta, might KO, might not, I don't know, and it's just great into anything else. Knockoff, also pretty solid. So, unfortunate that he's got a really, really good position here. I'm going to throw out Muck, knowing that a knockoff might be coming. I see the U-turn does good damage, and now that Hisuian Decidueye is out, and, like I said, he's got the Articuno, which, with a neutral Terra Blast, no boosts, threatens the KO on the Muck, but that could invite in the Meloetta or the Walking Wake. And honestly, this Decidueye doesn't have a great matchup in this match. Obviously, the triple arrows hits 3 times, but, that's going to be giving Mudsdale a stamina boost each time. Doesn't like going up against Meloetta, doesn't like going up against Mew. Don't see exactly what it's doing in this match, so, if it's going to make something happen, as its name would imply, this is its best chance, so I definitely understand sending it out here. I don't have a good fighting switch in, so I'm just going to stay in here, wondering that he might try to set up. He might also go for something like a Trailblaze, which I would then resist, so I'm fine staying in here. Glad I do. Hit the poison jab. Don't get the poison on that, which would have been nice. But, I did almost half, even after that bulk up, feeling pretty good, applying to this pressure to this, not letting it set up for free. But I'm seeing, Muck's HP pretty low, has lost its ability to switch into things, so I'm pretty happy just staying in here again. And he goes for knockoff, maybe expecting the Mew to come in to resist the fighting move, and I'm just going to go for Poison Jab again with a mid to high roll, plus the about 50% chance to get a poison off of that combined between the natural Poison Jab chance and Poison Touch. I'm able to take it down there and feeling great about that. Not going to say Joey made bad plays there, but definitely probably a couple over predictions. Let Muck just take some resisted hits and did fine and gets another kill. But now that Masquerada is out again, and U-turn looks just as free as last time. Again, Muck's pretty much lost most of its utility here, being so low at this point. So I'm just going to let it go down here to the U-turn. Get the momentum by seeing that he sends out the Gengar, and honestly, at this point, I'm kind of noticing something that I didn't realize was such a weakness of my team. That's I don't have a whole lot of speed on it. Sure, Electrode outspeeds, but I'm not OHKOing it by any means and taking an insane amount, if not just dying to a Specs move. And then this thing I'm expecting should outspeed Walking Wake. Meloetta doesn't outspeed it, Mew doesn't outspeed it, Mudsdale doesn't outspeed it and is weak on the special side. Oh, this is suddenly very scary with that Muck gone. So I'm going to have to go out into my Meloetta here. I threaten it with a Psychic move, and with my Assault Vest, I should be able to live any one move this has, even if it is Specs. But definitely wishing I had that Hawlucha or something with a bit more speed here right now. He is going to be forced out there, go for the switch into the Articuno, probably as kind of a sack. And unfortunately, I get the predict wrong. I went for Thunderbolt, doing decent damage to the Gengar, but also hoping for like that 20% paralysis chance on Meowscarada coming in. But he went to the Articuno. Probably could take a Psychic well enough. But yeah, that Thunderbolt prediction on my part really puts me in a bit of a bad position here. Neither of these Pokemon are threatening to do too much to each other at this point. I do have the Energy Ball, but this is bulky. And, well, we'll just see how these two Pokemon do here. Calm Mind, pretty interesting, as I do just go for the Energy Ball. Calm Mind, letting it live that, and it's going to get a boosted Terra Blast off here somewhere into something. So, well, let's see. I do have to just let it go for that Terra Blast. Doesn't do too much to me, but Meloetta is getting very low, and I go for the Hyper Voice. Maybe, something like the Masquerada would come in trying to take the Energy Ball or a Psychic move. Maybe I could catch that with the Hyper Voice, but honestly, I'm just happy to get that Articuno out of there before it can do any more damage. But, man, free U-turn. Okay, that was bad for me. Free U-turn was still bad for me. And, whoa, would you look at this? It's free U-turn, and it's still bad for me. I do have to just give him the U-turn kill on Meloetta here. Tried to get a little bit of switch priority. Gengar comes out again, and once again, man, this is all I have that outspeeds it. Not super happy about that. But I have to go out into this Electrode. It's the only thing that's going to be able to get some chip on it, as I do expect the Gengar to be choice specs. Go for the Volt Switch, do just under half, and then I go into Mew as a sack, honestly. Like I said, Mew has a bit of trouble with its speed here, being outsped by that Meowscarada who could U-turn it, even though I have the, Colbur Berry, it covers the knockoff, but not the U-turn. Don't have a Ghost Resist Berry, so the Gengar could easily one-shot me, as we just saw. It's probably not doing much at this point in the match, so I just let it go down. And, well, I set out Voltorb, and I have a lot of interesting options. Obviously, I can KO Gengar with the Thunderbolt, but if he switches into Meowscarada, expecting a Grass-type move, I'm expecting an Electric-type move, not in a great spot, as I'm thinking about saving that Terra for the Mudsdale, as I had talked about when I was going after my team. With the Terra, after that Gengar is gone, the Mudsdale does look very good. I could set up Rain for Walking Wake here to come in and get an agility, but that will power up Basculin, and Shadow Ball is going to be doing about 80 to 92% to Wake after combining that with the Rocks damage it's coming in, so not going to be in a super great spot with Wake after that. But I made the funny Rain tech. I want to show off the funny Rain tech, and we'll see if that pays out for me or not. I feel like doing it. I just want a ball, no pun intended, with the Electrode. And, well, here we go. This is my chance if I'm going to do it. Walking Wake comes out. We get that Photosynthesis boost in the special attack. Shadow Ball, 73%. I think that was kind of a mid-roll, if I remember. And I get that agility. I am now outspeeding everything except Jolly Basculin if it has Swift Swim. And, well, I'm feeling pretty good about this. I'm looking at the Meowscarada. It's only revealed U-turn, but I'm sure it has knockoff. I'm expecting it to have Play Rough, and as I said, I was expecting it to have Flower Trick to break through a Mudsdale with its defenses boosted. So, I'm feeling, honestly, pretty good here. Raid boosted Surf, of course, easily going out, and, well, Meowscarada comes back out. Actually, it's pretty funny. With the Quad Resist, even in the rain, Aqua Jet doesn't KO from that Basculin, so he's forced to go out here into Meowscarada, and I'm seeing that. I'm feeling pretty dang good about cleaning up this match, but the Scarfed Sucker Punch comes out. Oh my gosh, and at that point, I was just applauding the Aggrons here for bringing that tech. It completely caught me off guard. I was so certain I knew what the last moves on it were going to be, even though I had only seen the U-turn, and completely caught me off guard, and now I am definitely on the back foot here. I'm going to Terra Poison just to see what happens, and go for the Body Press, doing decent damage into the Basculin coming in. Of course, with the Sucker Punch, he was probably scared that I might do something like Iron Defense and start boosting my defenses and be able to live all this stuff. But you're going to see that Basculin in that rain, huge damage. My gosh. It was, in fact, pretty much a max roll there. I was just barely out of range of getting one shot there. But does insane damage, and after all of that recoil, Earthquake going to easily pick up the KO, but I am so low. Meowscarada is going to come out, and man, they're just knockoff free and easy clean up there for the Aggrons. And so yeah, there you have it. I'm kind of defeated by my own rain. Probably the best way to go out of all the different matches I've lost. But yeah, without that rain, Wave Crash was doing 65.8% max, and then with the defense boost after that, Knockoff was doing 20% max. So I probably would have lived and KO'd both Mons if I didn't have that rain up. We can even go back a bit. Let's see here. When I go for my rain there, you know, you live by the meme, you die by the memes. And really looking at this, I should have just Terran Electrode here, gone for that Terra Blast, would have KO'd the Gengar from here, then would have KO'd the Masquerada switching in. Don't expect him to switch in the Basculin to a potential electric type move. Would have put me in very good position there. Sure, Masquerada can come in at that point after I've killed the Gengar, but like I said, at that point, you know, between Walking Wake and Mudsdale, I should be able to clean up the match, I think. Probably would have been a more consistent out for me, but I went for the rain, and we all see how that went. Honestly, no regrets, though. It was a super fun game. Great to show off the tech I brought. And, you know, I got caught off by the good tech of the Scarf Sucker Punch, and honestly, shout out to Joey. He did great prepping for this game, playing this game. I got pretty lucky with some of those over predictions into the muck in the middle of the game, so the Aggrons definitely deserve to pull this one out of the bag. And, you know, unfortunate that my record against him gets even worse, but it's the way Pokemon goes sometimes. So, you know, just a lesson to always be flexible in the middle of a match with what you're brought. Don't get tunnel vision. And, well, fun match either way. Glad I was able to be part of it. And glad I was able to get it out to all of you, even if it took me a little bit. Still feeling a bit under the weather, but couldn't keep this one on hold too much longer. Thank you so much for sitting through this, watching it, and remember you can do all of the YouTube stuff, the liking, the subscribing, the ringing bells, the ordering a pizza. I don't know what YouTube wants you to do these days, but you can do all of that. And until next time, next week, I'll definitely see you with another feature match then. Hope you have a great time until then. See you around.